Hello, everyone stuck in digital cyberspace. We're gonna do another deck tech for you today. I got my random old school, one of the first decks I made when I got back into Magic. Just a black, white, modern deck. Nothing too special, but let's see what we got. I don't even remember what's going on here. So start you off with a Swamp Nightmare, flying. Its power and toughness equal to the number of swamps you got for a 6-drop. Dragon Scale General, beginning of your end step, bolster X. Add X the number of tapped creatures and get plus X. Interesting. Plain Swamp, Zilius Persecution. Till end of turn, creatures you control get +1, and creatures your opponent control get -1. Sun Titan, Vigilance, and when he enters the battlefield or attacks, you may return target permanent card with converted mana cost of 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Very cool. Indulgent Tormentor is a flying demon. At the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card unless target opponent sacrifices a creature or pays 3 life, 5/3 for a 5-drop. A Swamp. Reaper of the Abyss. We got a flying Morbid. At the beginning of each end step, if a creature died this turn, destroy target non-demon creature for a 6-drop. Concerted Effort, 4-drop enchantment. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, all creatures you control gain flying until end of turn. If a creature you control has flying, the same is true for Fear. First strike, double strike, land walk, protection, trample, and vigilance. Very cool card. Ultimate price, just destroy target monocolored creature for a 2-drop. And then we got Relentless Apparition Foil. It's a 3 white or black drop, and it gets +3/+3 if you pump it up for 3. And we got a Swamp, we got a Mikaeus the Lunarch. Enters the battlefield with +1, X+1 counters on it. It's X+1 white. Tap to put a +1 counter on him, and tap to remove a counter. For Mikaeus, put a 1 counter on each other creature you control. Nice. Lingering Souls. Love this card. 3-drop. Put 2 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying onto the battlefield, and flashback for 1 and 1 black. Nice. You can cast it from your graveyard and then exile it. And we got a Kothopid Soul Hoarder, a flying demon. Whenever a permanent owned by another player is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you draw a card and gain 1 life, and lose 1 life. 6/6 demon for 6. Foil, not bad. Aegis of the Gods. You have hexproof, 2/1 for a 2-drop. Why not? And then we got this guy. He's a god from Theros. I forgot his name, and it's in Japanese. I love the Japanese. I know he has Devotion to Black at like 5 or 7. He's not a creature. I don't know what his ability at the top is. I know the 1 and the 1 black is you draw a card and lose a life, I believe. You know what? We need an errata for that. We gotta check what that card is. I got them because they're cool, but then I forgot what they do because they're in Japanese. Ob Nixilis, the Unshackled, flying and trample for a 6-drop. Whenever an opponent searches his or her library, that player sacrifices a creature and loses 10 life. Whenever another creature dies, put a +1 counter on Ob Nixilis. Nice. That's painful with the fetch lands. Blood Scrivenger? Can't say that. Anyway, if you would draw a card while you have no cards in hand, instead draw 2 cards and lose a life. Okay, some card draw. Martial Coup, because I got the from the vault, so I have to throw them in there. Put X 1/1 soldier creatures on tokens onto the battlefield. If X is 5 or more, destroy all other creatures for a 2 and X drop. 2 white X drop. More Lingering Souls. I love that card. Worst Fears. 8-drop sorcery. You control target player during that player's next turn, and then exile Worst Fears. Ooh. Plains. Another Lingering Souls. Another Swamp. Old school art. Isolated Chapel. The dual land. So it's a it comes in tapped unless you control a plains or swamp. Tap it for white or black. Planar Cleansing, destroy all non-land permanents. And then we got Twilight Drover. Whenever a creature token leaves the battlefield, put a +1 counter on Twilight Drover. 2 and a white, remove a +1 counter from Twilight. Put 2 white 1 spirit tokens with flying onto the battlefield. This has synergy with something. I can't think of it now, but that's good with something else. Isolated Chapel and another Swamp. Myosian of Night's Reach, an 8-drop for a 5/2 legendary. When he comes into play with a divinity counter on it if you played it from your hand. If it's indestructible as long as it has a divinity counter on it. Remove the counter and each opponent discards his or her hand. Painful card discard. And then we got an Army of the Damned, 8-drop. Put 13 2/2 black zombie tokens onto the battlefield, and then you can flash it back for another 10. That's zombies, man. That's a lot of zombies. Oh, this is like, when I got back into the game and I saw cards like this were being printed again, because I was like, I played back in the day, and then I came back and I'm like, what? Let's do this. But it's not really effective in gameplay. I can't stand competitive. I like Commander and fun play. Modern decks that are just fun. I build a bunch of decks and let my friends play with them. All right, what we got? Uzlet, Ghost Council. It's a 5-drop. And when he enters the battlefield, target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. At the beginning of your end step, you may exile. If you do, return it to the battlefield under its controller. At the beginning of next, it gains haste. Interesting. So you keep using that effect. Diabolus of Bolas, a 4-drop. When he enters the battlefield, sacrifice another creature. You gain X life and draw X cards, where that's that creature's power. Interesting. Then we got a Plains. Then we got a Languish. All creatures get -4 till end of turn. Almost a Damnation. Gets out most of the smaller creatures. If you got big creatures, that actually keeps them in play. Swamp. So it could be better. Another Army of the Damned. 2 in a deck is kind of insane. Swamp, Plains. Again, this is the first deck I made when I got back into it. And it looks fun to play still. It looks somewhat competitive. Destroy target monocolored creature. I wouldn't say competitive, but definitely fun to play. Ogre Slumlord. Cards like this I live for. 5-drop. When another non-creature dies, you may put a 1/1 black creature token onto the battlefield. Rats you control have Death Touch. You ain't messing with my 1/1 Death Touch rats. More swamps, more lingering souls. Then we got a Pontiff of Blight. He's a 6-drop and extort. Other creatures you control have extort. And then we got, ooh, I gotta throw this in my deck with, yeah, think of that. Anyway, Terminus. We got a 6-drop, put all creatures on the bottom of their owner's library, but it's a miracle cost of 1 white. And can you see the shiny? Are these cards looking good? These don't look as good on the camera. Regular foil looks way better. Then we got Twilight Drover, another one. Cryptghast, one of my favorite cards ever. This is so undervalued. So it's a 4-drop for a 2/2 with extort, but whenever you tap a swamp for mana, you add another black to your mana pool. That card's insane in my opinion. Creekwood Liege, other black creatures you control get +1. Other green creatures, at the beginning of your upkeep, you may put a 1/1 black-green worm. This would be better if I played, green in this deck, but that's all good. Isolated Chapel, and then a Fracturing Gust for you. Destroy all artifacts, enchantments. You gain 2 life for each permanent destroyed this way. Can you see the shine? Can we see the shine? The light? But it's got weird glare. That's all right. Spirit Bonds, 2-drop enchantment. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 1. If you do, put a 1/1 white spirit creature token on flying onto the battlefield. Sacrifice a spirit with 2, and target non-creature gains indestructible until end of turn. Mumbling on that, but you get the idea. And then we got Avatar of Woe in Japanese. Let me see if I can remember what she does. She's an 8-drop. But if you have 10 creature cards in your graveyard, she costs 6 less to cast, and then you could tap her to destroy a creature. Yes. We're going to cut that and end it with a swamp, and that's Deck Tech. That was the old school, one of the first decks I made getting back into the game. Black, white, just fun deck to play. Shiny cards. Need more shiny cards. Anyway, hope everybody had fun. Have a great day. Be well. Leave some comments. Subscribe. Have an awesome day. Peace.